Welcome in, everyone. It is July 12th, 2025, and it is late 9:02 Eastern Time, and we are here to talk all things AEW, all in at Globe Life Field in Texas, the home of the Texas Rangers. I'm Max Dinenberg. This is Blackhawk, and we're going to be going through the whole 12-match, nearly 8-hour show that we had for AEW All In. Thanks for everyone for joining us. Blackhawk, how you doing tonight on this Saturday night?
It's been good. It was a long day of wrestling and another long day of wrestling tomorrow. So great weekend to be a wrestling fan, 100%.
Yeah, NXT Great American Bash started at the beginning, feels like a millennium ago, but the beginning of All In. Great American Bash is going on now. We have Evolution tomorrow, and I'll be back for that post show right back here on Bodyslam. So if you are just joining us for the very first time, guys, welcome to Bodyslam.net. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We basically have these live post shows every single night of the week. If it's Raw, if it's SmackDown, if it's NXT, Dynamite, Collision, and fun pay-per-views like All In. So please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you're with us also, please comment. We want to have a fun discussion with all of you guys. If you're on YouTube, you can also super chat. We'll linger more on your question or thoughts. So definitely please leave us a super chat, comment. Let's have a fun discussion. We have a lot of you guys currently in here. So please let us know that you're here. Say hi. We're really excited to talk AEW All In. Before we get into we're going to go match by match. If you're not familiar, we'll go through all 12 matches, give our thoughts. But overall, Blackhawk, as the show is over, what is your emotion? What is your reaction to the show?
This is easily the best event of the year so far. You know, we're about halfway through the year. We've still got a lot of wrestling left, but right now, best event of the year without a doubt. The only one that would rival it was the New Japan and AEW show from January. What was it? Dominion? Wrestle Dynasty. Yeah. That was the only one that I think could rival the show as best show of the year. And so I'm feeling great. I'm looking forward to this week, just watching wrestling and seeing what the fallout of every match was. And I'm feeling real good, real good about wrestling right now.
Yeah, it's a great time. I think, especially if you're an AEW fan, they have been, I think, on a roll in 2025. They definitely had their highs and lows, really end of 2022 and most of 2023. But I think they've been really much, I think since really the end of football season, since Tony Khan's been, as the reports have been, very much center focused on AEW. The show is been much better, stronger.
Agreed.
The storytelling, I think, has hit a new level, I think, for AEW. Here's Randy on Facebook. We're live everywhere.
Howdy,
Facebook,
Randy.
Howdy, Randy. Facebook, we're on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. We're everywhere right now. So let us know that you guys are here as well. But yeah, I think All In, I thought, really delivered, because I thought, for me, Double or Nothing, I thought was a really phenomenal show.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
From them. I was at Dynasty, and because I live here in Philly, and that was definitely a rough way to go out. But that was a big down point for AEW, where everyone was praying. The way people thought Hangman was going to win tonight, back in April, I think we all thought Swerve was going to win. But here we are, and I think it did work out for the best that we got to this point with Hangman.
I made a video on my personal YouTube page after Dynasty that was titled "What is Tony Khan doing?" I was so upset. I was like, this is horrible. But I think AEW's finally found their niche, and they're in their grind and putting out fantastic weekly shows and fantastic pay-per-views. I have yet to be disappointed by anything they've done, really outside of the Dynasty finale. The entire year. The Dynasty finale almost broke me. I was like, that was it.
Being at the show, I've never been to a show where that many people. It was like a deflating end of the show. People were leaving right away. It was But guess what? Here we are. It's July 12th, and I think AEW is doing as good as they've done in their six years. So yes, this show. Before we can get into things, I also want to say subscribe to the Patreon for Bodyslam. We are breaking a lot more news. Corey Hayes is really on top of things on the bodyslam.net Patreon. So if you want exclusive news before other sites use it, and you want the in your email box right away, please consider getting our Patreon. It really helps provide for all the people now who work for Bodyslam. So please subscribe to our Patreon.
Yes.
And follow us on social media. And again, we have over 100 of you guys watching us right now. So please let us know that you're here. Say hi, comment, super chat, all of that stuff. I just met Blackhawk. We love to keep talking with Blackhawk for a while, but I think we also want to hear from you guys and have a fun discussion with everyone here about AEW All In. So without further ado, I think it's finally time, Blackhawk, because it is a 12-match, 8-hour show to get into.
Need to get some meat.
Let's do it. So, meat. So the pre-show started at 1 o'clock, but matches really didn't start until 2 o'clock Eastern time. We had an 8-man tag between Shane Taylor Promotions, where you had Carly Bravo, the captain Sean Dean, Lee Moriarty, who is the pure champion for Ring of Honor, and Shane Taylor. They lost to the Von Erichs, Dustin Rhodes, and Sammy Guevara. This is a very easy, harmless, I think, pre-show match. The Von Erichs, it's Texas. Busy. We'll get to obviously the big story with Dustin Rhodes later on the show. But I think this is a harmless, good way to get STP, who I think have been other than Athena, I think the best thing on Ring of Honor this year. So what are your thoughts on this opening kickoff match?
I think it's a fantastic opener. You think about the pre-show, you're not expecting 5-star matches. You're expecting something fun to kind of get you in your seat, draw you in, and start paying attention to things. And this did exactly what you want out of a opening match. Shane Taylor Promotions always delivers. The Sons of Texas and the Von Erichs. I think honestly, they should just form like a collective group with them and then the Rhodes boys, and just have like a big group. I think that would be an awesome group, and just fun match all around. Just nothing crazy happened, but I was entertained the entire time. So I have no complaints about this. So
we had Kevin Von Erich get involved too towards the end of the match. With
that was awesome to see.
Yeah, with the returning Anthony Ogogo, who showed back up with SDP Super Card of Honor. A really, really good show last night.
Yes.
If you watch Ring of Honor, which I do. Are you like this? Ring of Honor is such a weird brand to talk about. They always do those type of great pay-per-views like they did last night. And then here we are a day later, and now you have Von Erichs, who are really barely on the show. They are trios champions. I thought Sammy and Dustin were actually going to drop the belts last night, but they kept the belts. So are you like interested in the Sammy, Dustin, Von Erich thing continuing on long term here, or anything like that?
I think you could make a handful of plays to make it relevant and make it make sense. I don't think it's that far out of reach. I think Ring of Honor's probably the biggest problem is, you have to subscribe to Honor Club to watch it. And so it doesn't have a lot of eyes on it. And I think if it had a lot more eyes on it, you would be able to see things like that. Because I watched the pre-show. I don't watch Ring of Honor weekly because I don't have Honor Club. But I keep up with what's going on. And so like, I think it would be good for them to start pushing guys kind of like this and groups kind of like this. Especially if they're going to use them for pre-show matches for their big events. And putting them in a group, if you're not going to use them all, gets them still eyes on them as, Dustin and Sammy have a tag match. The rest of them come out. They still get TV time. They're still there. But yeah, I think, I don't know. Ring of Honor has always been a little odd to me since AEW took it over. I think they put out some great shows, but there's also been a little bit of like, why'd you do that? Or why aren't these people being featured here, but being featured there? And so I don't know. It's very interesting to like think about and look at, but
yeah, I agree with you. It's for me, I watch every week because I've been an Honor Club subscriber for 9-10 years now. It's tough. It's tough weekly. It's a lot of like 40-minute shows where it's basically become jobber matches like AEW Dark basically. And I think last night proved they have enough talent who are just not being used on AEW TV to make a good Ring of Honor show. There are a lot of Ring of Honor references on this show. They followed up on the Takeshita Bandito match, which really set the tone for the weekend. You had Athena having a big win later on the show, and you had obviously Dustin Rhodes as well. So I think hopefully the reception for Ring of Honor last night, hopefully maybe things change. Let's move on. Oh yeah, sorry, you keep going, Blackhawk. Sorry.
Well, it's also kind of sad because of the history Ring of Honor has that now that's kind of subject to these type of matches. And I think Ring of Honor could be a really good place to just let some of the younger guys and gals just kind of grind it out and figure some things out and work their way up to AEW, kind of like NXT, but it's not as developmental. It's more of like practice and working on things, and instead of just squash matches. So I never hear about stories coming out of Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I think I think if they made the characters more exclusive to Ring of Honor, that would help the brand. But the problem is really outside of Athena, all of the main people for Ring of Honor are AEW people. If it's Bandito, if it's Jericho, they're really not on the weekly TV show. But again, weirdly to say, we're not going to be done talking ROH on this AEW All In post show. The second of the 3 kickoff matches was the Don Callis family with Hechicero, who got a win on Supercard last night, as well as Rocky Romero, Lance Archer, and Trent. They lost to the 4.0 version of the conglomeration where randomly Hologram is a member, and you have Kyle O'Reilly. But the big parties, you have Big Boom AJ and that whole situation, Big Justice and the Rizzler. I have, I'm not mostly into their social media stuff, but honestly, their AEW stuff, another just harmless, fun. The crowd is usually very into it.
Bring the boom.
Like harmless. My favorite part of this match was Trent Beretta shoving Big Justice down. Got a huge reaction from the crowd.
Crazy.
What did you think of this kickoff match here?
I think it was great. I personally love the conglomeration, and my headcanon for it is that every face in the company is part of the conglomeration, and it's just whoever they can grab at one moment before they really start picking up for a match is who's going to be in the conglomeration for this iteration. But I think obviously Big Boom AJ is not a main event star, but he brings eyes to the program. He's incredibly fun to watch. He takes it very seriously. It's not like, celebrity matches where they'll, kind of just lackadaisically do stuff. He takes it very seriously because he cares about wrestling. And he brings, the Rizzler and Big Justice, and they also, they're children, but they still take it seriously. Rizzler really doesn't do much, but Big Justice has been like a key factor in the last couple of matches they've had. Him hitting a spear tonight was crazy. Got me out of my seat. So it's very fun.
Too. Yeah,
it's just very, very fun. Like anytime they're on AEW TV, I know I'm gonna have a very, very good time, regardless of the outcome or who's in the match. It's just gonna be good. It's just gonna be enjoyable. So I'm very, very happy with this.
Yeah, it's a very fun, again, very harmless. It's on the kickoff show. They're not, they always do like the collision before. They have one promo segment, build up the match. And again, for people might, crap on the match, dunk on them personally. And when you're in these, when you actually watch AEW, they get some of the biggest reactions on the show consistently.
They do.
And they are popular, at least with the crowds that they have been going to. And I think for AEW, I think and they've been using them not every pay-per-view, not every month. They have been using them very sparingly. I think the more they do that, they can keep that good reaction, I think, for them.
Exactly. I think if you had them every week, it wouldn't be as popular, but spreading them out every couple months, throwing them in a pre-show match is fantastic.
Yeah. Let's now wrap up the kickoff show with FTR versus the Outrunners. Looked like the Outrunners were actually going to get the win here, but Stokely got involved, and that led to Stoke and Cash holding on to Dax as he got the roll up. So FTR, who I was pretty mad at a week ago, were probably not going to be on this show because it's been again, rumored, and the reports were the plan was to do FTR versus Christian and Cope on this show after the events of Dynasty. But Christian wanted to finish out the Nick Wayne, the patriarchy stuff. So FTR kind of was doing a bunch of nothing for really just Outrunner stuff for the last couple of months. But they had a phenomenal match on Collision a week ago. I don't think this was as good as that match.
Right.
But I think to get FTR on the show, I'm all here for it.
And I'm a big fan of the Outrunners. So this was another just fun match. FTR, I think, is one of the best tag teams in the world. They're easily top 25, maybe top 10 current tag teams. Outrunners, always fun. I loved the Newport gear. I thought that was I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, I really did think the Outrunners were gonna pull this one out. Didn't get it. But I have faith in the Outrunners that, come next year at All In, they could be, on the main card, for the tag team championship. I think they have an incredibly high ceiling. FTR, obviously, incredibly high ceiling, is one of the best. And working with FTR, the Outrunners are just going to get better. So I think this is a great match, great for everybody involved. And as we keep moving, I hope to see them, go back and forth with it a little bit more. Maybe have a handful more matches. Maybe not next week, but maybe a couple weeks down the line they meet up at Collision again or something like that. But I think this could be a really fun rivalry as things progress.
Yeah, this is a feud they did even like a year ago when the Outrunners were really hot for the first time.
Yes.
And they were buddies, but then they had those series of matches. They could always, I think these four have just very good chemistry with each other.
They do. Incredibly good.
I have been a fan of the FTR heel turn, and Stokely fits well with them.
Yes.
I just think they kind of got the short end of the stick of the finishing off the patriarchy stuff, which really made the Cope return delayed this long, and it delayed FTR getting involved in that this long. But here we are, and I think, again, some things I was worried about the day stuff was reported happened. I think All In made it feel a lot better.
Yes, exactly. I was thinking the same thing about the patriarchy and all of that. And we'll talk about it later, I'm sure. But yeah, that whole situation at that point, I was like, okay, I think this is perfect timing. This is great. I think they did this really well.
Before we move on to the main show, do you like that these are like 2-hour pre-shows? Like, I think I do think the show was way too long. And I do think they could have made even like one or two of the main card matches just straight up pre-show matches. I don't know. But I guess moving forward, was this a big problem for you? Like, were these I think they were worthy enough pre-show matches, but to maybe cut down on the show itself, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think a 2-hour pre-show sounds good on paper. And all this sounds very good on paper. And then you sit through it and you're like, wow, that was 2 hours. That's their like weekly runtime for Collision. They just had a pre-show for another show that they're about to have for 5 hours. And I think when you have these longer shows, a shorter pre-show is probably best. Like a 2-hour pre-show for a show that's only going to have 5 or 6 matches, only going to last like 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah.
I think it's great. But yeah, when you're sitting down and that you want to go pre-show to like finale, you've got to block out 8 hours of your day. That's a whole work shift. So it's like it is a lot. And I think, on the back end of it, I do wish it was a little bit shorter, but I had a lot of fun during those 8 hours. So I'm like, I don't have a lot of complaints, but at the same time, I don't know if I could do another 8-hour show, soon. Because now, like Sunday, I've got to get stuff done because I blocked out 8 hours for All In.
That's right. It's this weekend. I think if you're a wrestling fan or people like us who cover pro wrestling, it is a commitment to get through.
Yes.
Even last night, it really started. I had to do Supercard of Honor, then I watched SmackDown after, and now today I'm gonna get through those two WWE shows, and then tomorrow right away we get Evolution. we don't really get. I mean, again, I think we're blessed now to have this much great pro wrestling, but we don't really get many nights off. Let's just say that for pro wrestling, we're mostly watching wrestling every night, covering it. So, but again, when it's all in and when it's these big shows, it is a lot of fun. So we are about to get into, guys, the main card here for All In. So if you're currently, again, watching us on YouTube, please also, guys, hit that like button. It really helps the YouTube algorithm get us out to more people. If you want to comment also, we are going to be talking about All In. If you want to super chat us, we'll linger on your thought a lot longer. But if you just want to comment, join us in the conversation for AEW All In, or if you want to talk about maybe tomorrow's show, let us know down, again, if you're watching us on the replay, down in the comments. But if you're currently watching us live on either Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, we have so many people watching us currently on Twitter. So comment, let's have a fun discussion, and follow us again on Twitter, Facebook, all of our social medias. We are busy. TikTok as well has been doing really good, so please keep it connected to bodyslam.net. Again, last time I'll plug stuff for a while because we got to get through AEW All In. So let's get started. Let me see if again, trying out these banners. But to start the show, we did have the trios match for the trios championship. We had the Death Riders with Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli, and then the additional one of my top 2-3 favorite performers in the world right now, Gabe Kidd. They lost to the current champs, the Ops, Samoa Joe, Katsuyori Shibata, and Powerhouse Hobbs. I thought this was actually, I was like not thinking about this match at all to be the opener for the show. But I do know that Tony likes to have all the big matches now on these shows really towards the back half. I thought the match was a lot of fun. It wasn't a match that I think is going to be in the top 5 matches on the show. But I thought it accomplished what it did. The right team won. Joe got taken out after the match, which they were trying to lead seeds and doubts in you all night about who would help Hangman, who would and would not be able to help Hangman, even though the Ops did not interfere in the main event, I don't think, whatsoever. So, but what are your thoughts on the Ops retaining against the Death Riders?
I thought it was a great match. The Death Riders just recently have started to grow on me, and I've really enjoyed the growth. I think Jon Moxley kind of locked in and started doing some really good promos, and their actions kind of started to make sense, because before it was kind of like, why are they doing all this? They're like not talking, they're just kind of showing up, wrecking stuff and leaving, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm just now kind of coming around to the Ops and be like, I think not the Ops, the Death Riders, and enjoying them. And then I think the addition of Gabe Kidd, which is easily a top 25 wrestler in the world right now. Great addition. I'm a big fan of like faction or team wrestling. And I had a thought during this match that it would be cool to see kind of the War Dogs make their way into the Death Riders. As Jon Moxley has had, a history with New Japan, it would be kind of cool to see sort of like a melding of the groups through Gabe Kidd. But the Ops, fantastic team. Love Samoa Joe. Love him with all my heart. And it was interesting because from the formation of these groups, both teams had somebody that was not there at the formation, with Powerhouse Hobbs with the Ops and Gabe Kidd with the Death Riders, which kind of left an interesting dynamic, I think, a little bit, with Hook not being there, and we don't really even know if he's with the Ops anymore, and then Pac being out for the Death Riders. So it was a great match. Claudio Castagnoli hit an uppercut on Powerhouse Hobbs where he tossed him in the air. Blew my mind because Powerhouse Hobbs got up at least like 2 feet in the air, and Castagnoli, I was like, whoa, brother. I was like, where did you pull that strength out of? But this was a good win for the Ops, I think. Kind of one of those odds stacked against you, still pull out the victory kind of wins. And then the attack on Samoa Joe after was rough to watch. But I'm very interested to see how that moves forward.
Yeah, sorry. Claudio hit stomped a chair on Joe's head. I was thinking the whole time because I know the second season of his Peacock show is coming out soon, but I don't know if it's that soon or not. So I don't know if they're like writing him off TV or something. But again, he is a trios champion, so I can't imagine they're just gonna do the relinquish.
I think he already recorded for that. I think they finished.
Yeah, I see no promotion wise. If he had to leave the promotion.
Gotcha.
But again, I thought this was again a fun match. As I said, I think I wish they have explained more why Gabe is with the group. They just haven't explained at all why he
just kind of showed up one day and we're like, yeah, he's part of it.
And then he left for like a month or two to go back to Japan, and now he's back again. It's like, wow, well, we need a trio. I do think that's like a big problem for AEW. I do think they need to put a lot more stock back into the trios division as a whole.
I agree.
They have really dropped the ball since the Death Riders won the belts in the first place, and they weren't even bringing them out for matches, the belts themselves. And I think the Ops was a good choice, but it feels like the Ops have only wrestled Death Riders for 2 or 3 months now. So it would be interesting. Again, we have Scorpio Sky and Top Flight now being included. There's a lot of different ways they can go, I think, moving forward, but they do need to put more trios. They've been doing a lot of all-star tag matches with people who are not teams. I think moving forward, more stock into the trios, I think, is going to help a lot.
And I think I can kind of see the vision of them putting more stock in it. Ricochet joined the Gates of Agony. And then, like we were talking about earlier with Dustin Rhodes and that whole crew. They could Freebird rule the trios titles down.
Bang Bang Gang is back as well.
Yeah, Bang Bang Gang, exactly. And so we're getting trios coming in droves, and we're seeing that a lot, recently. And so I think hopefully the trios division kind of gets a boost here pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm hopeful because they're finally building up some teams, but again, who knows if they're going to have Joe be out for TV for some part? Who knows?
Exactly. Yeah.
Rough. Let's move on to the second match on this card, which is, let me finally get it up here. There we go. The men's casino gauntlet match. This is actually the match I thought was going to start the show. It goes on second.
I did too.
I know Royal Rumble is my favorite match. It is, but I do love these gauntlet matches for AEW.
I agree.
I do think soon I want to see a gauntlet where only 2 people come out and it's ended in 5 minutes. I do think once you see that for the first time, things will be more
squash
unpredictable.
gauntlet.
Yeah, because it is true. Because that's why only thing I'll say on the show is sometimes the wrestlers were taking way too long on the entrances, and in kayfabe, someone could be already rolling someone up in the ring as they're doing their poses and the pyro. So that's why hopefully soon they do like a gauntlet where someone wins in 5 seconds. But the whole story here was built up between really Briscoe, MJF, and Mystico have kind of the story going around. MJF gets the win. This was, I think, the Ricochet, getting him in early was great. They clearly a lot of people watched, which is really good to know, Supercard last night, because the biggest pop in the match, honestly, was when Takeshi and Bandito were just staring at each other. They had, again, an incredible match. If you have not got a chance to see it, I highly recommend it. But that was really great. Juice Robinson returned. The Guns came back. Clean shaven Juice Robinson, which was very...
Didn't recognize him when he came out.
Beast Mortos got a very good reaction as well, which was great to see. But the match ended with Briscoe hitting a J Driller, and of course MJF threw him out of the ring and stole the victory. So I don't think they're doing the cash in anymore, but it looks like MJF is the #1 contender, and they're going to run it back with Max and Hangman. So Blackhawk, what are your thoughts on this year's men's casino gauntlet?
I thought this casino gauntlet was one of the best ones they've done. I got to see everybody I wanted to see in the casino gauntlet. Who I wanted to win didn't win. I was all for Takeshita, Brody King, or Mark Briscoe. Yeah. And Brody's over. Yeah, Brody is crazy over. But yeah, I think this was probably their best one. I do miss the casino ladder matches. I thought those were really fun. But yeah, I think they keep advertising this air of mystery of we don't know who's going to be the last one, which I think is a really fun way to do, because you could end up with 45 people in this ring at some point if you really want to stretch it. Or you could end this as a one-on-one, which is like a really fun concept. I don't know what the number was tonight. Do you know?
I don't know. No, I wish they would show the number like when they come out. Like this is number 10 or something. Yeah.
But the Casino Gauntlet has always been, or the Casino quote unquote match, because they've kind of changed it up over the years, has been always an interesting concept and has led to some really fun matches. And then in the future, very fun championship matches. I don't know if it's like a cash in, like Money in the Bank kind of cash in thing, or if they've like, he and Hangman have to sit down and specify a date for the match. So that would be interesting to see how they play that out. I'm assuming what will happen is we'll get, Hangman and MJF, and then probably Mox will come back into the picture and try to take the title back at some point. And then we'll probably move into Swerve or Ospreay, something of that caliber. But the main event scene looks great right now.
Yes.
So I'm very, very excited for, MJF wasn't my pick, but I'm very excited for what's going to come out of it.
Yeah, this was now when you look back, I thought this was going to be a much heavier babyface winning show. There were actually a lot of heels who did get wins on the show. MJF in Hurt Syndicate, I don't think has been the greatest thing so far. I think it's worked. It hasn't worked at times, because I think there's times where it feels like an equal group, and there's times Sheldon and Bobby have just been security for Max. So I do think moving forward, we will see now with their retention and Max now being the number one contender for the world title. Again, last year's is really tough to top gauntlet-wise, when you had like Nigel McGuinness and Zack Sabre. You had a lot of different people get involved. I knew it wasn't going to be like as return heavy. I thought maybe Darby could get into this match, but a lot of people were picking him to win. But I thought he was just going to be a factor in the main event, which is what it turned out to be. Exactly. So MJF is the number one contender. Did you guys like that or not? I think Mark Briscoe's been getting a lot of positive stuff lately. I really hope.
Yes.
I do think this will probably lead to an MJF big Mark Briscoe match before MJF gets the world title match. But I knew MJF was going to win. I do want to say also, sorry, one of my favorite performers right now since joining has been Ricochet. I think Ricochet is doing his best work.
Yes.
And he sold
100%.
for every single person, I think, in this match. Every time someone came out, he was the only guy it felt like that was standing in the ring. Him and Gates of Agony, I think, is a match made in heaven. And I really hope, if it's not the trios, I hope Ricochet is a factor. If it's TNT, if it's the world title,
factor in something.
He has got himself over really quickly in AEW. So I really,
he's put in the work, and he's shown that he can do it. And he might have been held back at WWE, and joining AEW was the best thing for his career. And I'm extremely happy for him as a fan of his from WWE. Very happy to see him, maybe not have gold around his waist, but be successful, and be in these spots to, maybe he took everybody's moves, but he was the guy to do it. And so you saw his face a lot tonight.
Yeah, he was, again, I watched him in New Japan before that. That's how I really discovered him and Ospreay. And I still never believe this was the kind of character work he could be doing, but clearly this is really good stuff.
He's got it in him. Yeah, it's great.
So to talk about, we'll talk about this for a while, I think, before even the match. But the saddest part of the show took place following, which was Adam Cole. Yeah. So we learned before the show, Tony Khan continues to do these weird Twitter live streams, like out of the blue. But he announced on it that Adam Cole was not medically clear. So they moved the TNT match, which was supposed to be Cole versus Fletcher, to a four-way. Sammy Guevara, Dustin Rhodes, Kyle Fletcher, and Daniel Garcia. But again, there were no reports what happened with Cole, any of that situation. Yep. And then shockingly, Cole himself came out before. I was like, okay, this makes sense. He'll come out, hand over the title to the winner. But this was not like that of any of the sorts. This is honestly, I was a wreck, because this is one of my favorite performers of my lifetime. So this was a lot for me to take in. But he gave a promo. He was crying, but he was really getting emotional once he took the ramp and was walking down. Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong stayed behind after the gauntlet to watch him, and he basically gave a speech saying it's a health thing, and he has no idea if this is the last we see of Adam Cole. He's had the worst luck since being in AEW.
I agree. Yeah.
3 or 4 just major injuries. There's still no word.
None of them have been like crazy like bumps or anything outside of maybe this one that was Kyle Fletcher on the apron. Like I remember one of the ones I remember of Adam Cole's was he like broke his ankle stepping off the ramp. And that's just like freak accident. It's just been a lot of like weird freak accidents that have kind of halted his AEW run.
Yeah. And again, Tony Khan's presser to start, he just talked about not anything specific with Adam Cole, but Dustin Rhodes is the first person at the podium right now. So they are talking about how sad it is again. For that, again, it was very sad. He's had a promo like this, I would say 2 years ago, or the time he did talk about how this could be a retirement speech. It turned out it was not a retirement speech.
Yeah.
So again, we're all hoping that this is not the last, obviously, because I think Adam Cole deserves a really good AEW run. Because again, the TNT title has just not been, I think, a factor at all in 2025 for the most part. And
I agree.
Not to his fault. He's been on commentary a lot while he was healthy. So again, we're not going to speculate what the injury was, but again, it was very emotional. He cried a lot. A lot of people in the crowd were crying. This was the most unexpected thing on the show. But from a booking perspective, I think this is where we got the most unexpected thing on the show. Dustin Rhodes is the new TNT champion. I think everyone, including myself, just assumed Fletcher was going to get the win, even if Cole was healthy. He's been really built up as the next guy for AEW. Funny enough, him and Takeshita both in the same faction, both are primed to be the next 2 big stars for them over the next decade. But this was a match that it was tough to get into at the beginning just because of what had just happened, and the crowd definitely took time, but things got more interesting as it went on. Sammy hit a really good Spanish fly to the outside on Garcia, which I liked. Really happy Sammy got put into some really good spots this weekend. But yeah, it was a submission move for Garcia. Rhodes rolled him up, and that was it. And Dustin was crying in the corner. Never probably thought he would ever get a major singles title again, even 6 years into his AEW run. But he is now 3 titles, Dustin Rhodes. What was your reaction? What was your reaction when Dustin Rhodes got the victory?
I was shocked. But then after I saw him, in the corner, like weeping, I was like, okay, this is a moment. Especially after like the emotional moment we had with Adam Cole before the match. And we follow it up with another emotional moment with Dustin Rhodes, who probably just never thought he'd hold singles gold ever again. And I thought it was a great pick. Obviously, I think Kyle Fletcher would have been the better pick long-term wise, but I don't see a problem with a short title reigns. I don't believe he'll hold it forever. I think he'll eventually drop it to Kyle Fletcher in the not too distant future. But I think it's an awesome moment that you can make in, his home state, in front of his home crowd, with, a lot of people in the crowd that he loves and that love him. And so I think it's a great moment that you can make. And, in the future, probably won't hold it long, but
no.
Match was fun. Yeah, match was fun, and surprise ending that ended up being like a heartfelt moment. So
I had the same thing as you, where at first was like, this is really weird, and then when Dustin, it clicked, where he had such an emotionally sad moment to begin this whole segment and to end on such an emotionally hopeful, optimistic, positive moment. I honestly think was really well done by the book, by Tony and everyone involved. So Dustin, as I said, is at the podium. Dustin just said that it was a top 5 moment for him in his entire career. And again, that guy's been wrestling 3 or 4 different decades. So that is pretty
they
incredible.
Said 5 decades tonight. So
yeah, a lot of decades, but this is a top 5 moment for him. And he says he's very moved that Tony gave him this opportunity, and he will run with the opportunity. So very, very emotional whole part of the show. As I said, I don't know if Dustin, he might even have a title match on Wednesday, lose it. I think in the moment, I think it was a very good moment to have on the show.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think he holds it long. It's not something to be worried about, but I think with Kyle Fletcher holding it, I think the TNT Championship could have a very big, back half of the year with the way that they've been using Kyle Fletcher. And I think what's interesting to me is AEW is, you have 5 guys at the top with MJF, Hangman, Swerve, Ospreay, and Moxley. Everybody else is in the mid card. And they have ample opportunity to be just tossing the belt around and really just building people up and kind of making it feel like, the mid card is really warring for this championship. And I think that would be the best possible thing for this belt, is if, not weekly, but maybe every couple of weeks, somebody else gets to hold it. And they're just, next year we get to All In, it's 30-man battle royale or something because there's so many people who want this belt. And I think it'd be a great idea to just keep, not loosey-goosey tossing it around, but there's some people at the upper mid card that definitely deserve a title shot and a title run. That once the smoke clears for the main titles, they'll start moving up and moving around. Like Ricochet, I think Ricochet deserves a TNT Championship run.
Completely agree,
without a doubt. Brody King, give him a TNT Championship run.
I agree too. I do.
Beast Mornos, they have.
Hologram has not lost a match.
Yeah. Hologram, exactly. They have a laundry list of people that are ready to hold that TNT Championship, if it's even for like a week.
I agree. This was a title. I think Jack Perry's run I really enjoyed. I love that ladder match. I was at Forbidden Door last year, so I love that match, and I think his run was good. Garcia winning was a really good moment, but his run was mostly just doing 6-man tags against Paragon for months, then just losing to Cole. And then Cole's been doing half commentary and also just doing trios matches with Paragon. So again, Dustin is now a trios and tag champion in Ring of Honor and a TNT champion. I don't think he ever thought this would be happening in 2025. And now
3-belt Dustin.
The first set of brothers now to win the same championship in AEW. Cody was obviously a very famous winner of the AEW title. So again, I really do like Dustin Rhodes. I think it's a great moment. Tony Khan's just, people are saying, reciting Dustin's best career moments currently, and everyone's being mind blown that Tony has all of this on the top of his mind at the moment. Now let's talk about a match I think we're going to be talking about for a while, which is, I think, easily the match on the night, which was the dream tag match between the Young Bucks against Swerve and Ospreay. Again, the big stipulation, which gave this match so many stakes, was if Ospreay and Swerve did not win this match, they were going to not be in the AEW World Title picture for a year. And obviously, if the Bucks lose, they would lose their EVP titles in kayfabe. This was a match that, again, these are 4 of my top 5, top 10 favorite performers in the world. The Bucks are my favorite tag team of all time. I know they get a lot of stuff, but they have had a very, I would say, like 2022 to 2024, just very whatever run for them. They have been on a heater, I think, in 2025.
Yes.
And they have shown this is the Young Bucks of 2018 and 2019, 2017 are still in there. Because this was, I think, one of the best tag matches I have ever seen. I had very high expectations. They went above that. Because I actually had no idea going in. I think both paths were equally interesting.
I agree.
The Bucks are now going to get a whole new character set now, because now they're no more the EVPs, the limo, all of that stuff. And then I think it could have been interesting if Swerve and Ospreay lost. Maybe they were a tag team, then feuded. There was a lot of interesting directions.
Yeah.
But they ended up going. I did buy a ticket. I really did think the Bucks won at one point during this match. But this was a classic AEW tag team match. These are your top two of your top three baby faces, and then one of your top two probably best tag teams. They had this classic. What were your thoughts? Was this also your favorite match of the night, or no?
This was not my favorite match of the night. My favorite match was actually the Women's Casino Gauntlet.
Okay, we'll get to that. But yeah,
we'll get to that next. But yeah, this was also a fantastic match. The Bucks up until this year have been incredibly forgetful. And I forget that they still wrestle up until like you do Anarchy in the Arena and they show up. Yeah. They just show up for Anarchy in the Arena and then All In and like something with New Japan. And it's like, okay, they wrestle like 3 times a year. Maybe they're not doing this anymore. But they showed that they still can run. They can still go. Swerve and Ospreay continue to impress because I didn't think they would last this long.
Yeah.
And so them winning this, makes me think maybe they should really invest themselves into the tag, division and kind of put their foot forward on that as well. While, stuff with Hangman kind of works its way into when they can kind of step into that role of challenger. And so it's an incredibly fun match. We got a bunch of classic Ospreay false finishes.
You did.
That is one of the best things he does is the false finish because he really waits till you're that right there.
999.
Yeah, and he has got it down pat. Like he's so good at it. I'm very interested to see how things work out because I think this whole event has had a lot of matches that you go in not really knowing what's going to happen and what the move after is. And there's a lot of mystery behind, either door of which winner, which is the best way to book, a pay-per-view PLE.
Yeah.
And so this was great because there was a lot going on that could happen on either side winning. And I was very interested to see what would happen with either side winning. And so eyes glued to the screen the entire time because I wanted to know, will Ospreay and Strickland be able to challenge for the world title, or are we going to have to wait a year and see if they go to war in 6 months? So I would not hate another Ospreay Swerve war. So like it's like
I was there for Dinenberg last year. What a match!
Yeah,
what an incredible match.
I feel like it's a win-win regardless of the situation coming out of this. And so like this match was a great match, incredible match, and in the future, we're getting a win regardless of the outcome. So that's probably the best possible end to a match is, there's no doom and gloom at the end of it. It's very exciting moving forward.
Yeah, I also wanted to add we had some special entrances here. Ospreay had for the second straight year another Assassin's Creed entrance.
Yep.
Swerve had lovely. We had JoJo performing a song.
JoJo Offerman.
And they had the Fireflies behind her in the Titantron. I thought that was just really well done. Obviously, Swerve has a great entrance. The Bucks entrance did go on for a very long time. But again, as someone who loves them, that's the point. But for people, they don't still realize that the Bucks do all of this just to get under people's skin. They know how to do it better than everyone.
Yes. I personally love that about their character is like a part of it is like, we want you to like cringe and be like, please stop.
They read all the social media. They know what people don't like about them, and they do it times 20. And that pisses people off even more.
It's like watching Big Brothers like just like wrestle other people.
And
they know what's gonna work, and they're just like, let's run it.
For watching a lot of Bucks all their matches over the last 10 plus years, their new move of the double stomp off the ropes into the power bomb, it is so good every time. I don't know why it is very crisp. It is funny the moment in the match where the back and forth, the super kicks, and then the Canadian Destroyers into the strong stomp and the hidden blade. everyone got on their feet, and so did I, honestly, in my place. The moment that sequence started, you could tell what was about to happen. Just really, really good stuff. So I am interested, before we move on, the Bucks now, so they lose. There are no more EVPs.
Yes.
You have Okada doing Don Callis family stuff, winning a match tonight.
Yes.
No Jack Perry. I
was shocked by.
Yeah,
I really
show up in
expected
the
to
main
see
event
Jack Perry at some point somewhere. So
I think we're probably going to get a blood and guts match to end the Bucks with the Death Riders going up against Team AEW. I think we'll get one more big match. Yeah. After that, I am fascinated where the Bucks go. If they go from like the bum Baron Corbin like situation where they're poor now and they're going around and all that type of stuff. I'm fascinated. What if they take time off TV for a while and then come back as who knows what's going to happen. I do find it very fascinating, the direction for the Bucks at the moment.
It would be very funny to see them come back and try to buy the company from Tony Khan for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Work Tony Khan into the show just for a little bit, just so the Bucks can come in and try to like buy the show from him, so they can get some sort of power back.
Like instead of coming in a limo, they're come out in an Uber or something, like something crazy,
a '94 Honda Civic.
Yeah, something. And they're like begging. They have to now go in the actual locker room. Now they don't get their own person. There's a lot of really fun. Like if they brought back now BTE now, because oh my god, we need the YouTube and the money from YouTube now. I think there's a lot of really good direction.
They start like campaigning for people to buy their shoes on the street.
Like we can do that with the Reeboks. Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah, they like wear shirts with like the shoe on it, like buy our shoes.
Yeah, there's good directions I think to go with the Bucks. Swerve and Oscar are now in the main event title picture, but we'll talk about that later. Let's get into your favorite match on the show, which was the women's casino gauntlet match. I also found this to be really enjoyable because I was really nervous when I knew this was going to happen. They were going to put this on after the Ospreay tag match. I was getting really nervous. Like, here we go. The women are now put in a spot where the crowd's probably going to be dead because that was such a classic tag match. They, at the first, it was lukewarm during the entrances, but man, once the match got going, this crowd was hot for this match.
Yes.
Good idea to have Stat and Megan start the match. I was thinking going in, even though Athena won this match, we'll just say that. She pinned Mina Shirakawa to win this match. I did not think she was going to win just because, she did retain again the Ring of Honor women's title against Thunder Rosa. Also, incredible match. Go out of her way to go check that out. But thinking maybe she won that. She was going to be here but not win. I was thinking really Willow or Stat were probably going to get the win here. But we had a lot of Ty Mello was involved. We had also Harley Cameron returning. We had the debuting Shuri on this show, which she teased that last night on the Ring of Honor show. I do think her and Athena for the Ring of Honor women's title, that can main event any Ring of Honor show. But I thought Athena getting a win here was really cool. She has been really shunned for being a ROH. She's been the one ROH exclusive talent really over the last 3 years. And she's honestly the only reason why I kept watching Honor Club consistently. She is always good, always delivering these matches. She got the big hometown pop today. And I thought the finish was genius where Mina has a person in a figure four and then she comes in with the big finish and gets the win. So what are your thoughts on the women's casino gauntlet?
I thought it was awesome. I am a big fan of the AEW women's division. And I'm championing for them to do more with the women's division. I think if Evolution goes well tomorrow, I don't see why AEW doesn't run a similar style show because they have an incredibly stacked women's roster between AEW and Ring of Honor. And so the gauntlet match just proved that. You just had a lot of women come out and just beat the hell out of each other and put on a great match. Incredibly fun to watch. I didn't think Athena was going to win. I actually had picked Chris Statlander. I thought she was going to go the distance. But yeah, starting out with Chris and Megan Bayne was a great start. Two powerhouses. And then Willow coming in third was just icing on the cake. I think we'll see a lot stem from this match, which is why I think is one of my favorites. Is there's a lot of things going on within the match that will branch out into weekly television. Especially, I think there's something there with Megan Bayne and Chris Statlander, and as well as with Willow and Chris Statlander. They still have things to work out, obviously. But I thought it was great. Athena, I don't think she should lose the ROH Women's Championship. I think she should just vacate it. I think she should just drop it. Yeah, leave undefeated and drop the. I think that would be the most beast thing she could do. Just walk into AEW as still undefeated Ring of Honor, former Ring of Honor champion, never lost with the title. I think that's the best possible thing because I don't want to see her lose. She's gone this long. Like,
I know.
I don't want to see her drop it because she's carried Ring of Honor. She's carried that title. I think she deserves to be able to just say, "I'm moving up." Have at it, and just keep going.
Yeah, I think me and Tony have the same thought, which is like she should lose it, but also if she's not on the TV show, what are people even going to watch less now if she is not the champion?
I thought she
should have lost a year ago to Billy Starks at Final Battle. I actually thought I was like, okay, she'll put over the person who she's been tutoring with, but she beat Billy twice now for this title, so I don't think it's Billy. So again, AEW, they have a stacked women's division. Also, Tekla and Amanada's been a really hot feud.
Yes.
And the crowd was really into it when they were staring down at each other. Tekla was
I forgot about they've been going crazy.
Yeah, hard hitting. Like every time they're in the all-star tag matches together, things have been going crazy. Again, this was supposed to be this is a plan B because this was supposed to be Tekla and Jamie Hayter out of the gate, and this was honestly the best plan B they could have imagined. Tekla has gone very over now because of this feud.
Yes.
After, again, if you don't watch Stardom, don't really know who she is. But again, I thought there was I think I think you're right. They could do like maybe one flip-flop men and women where one gets a gauntlet and one gets a ladder match to maybe make it not as long and repetitive.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
But I thought also I fancied about Marina Shafir is going to get involved, maybe help Stat get the win with the Death Rider stuff, but they did not even come close to teasing that tonight. So I'm very interested where we go there from there. Sorry, you go.
One more thing about this match. I think this match also proves that they should add at least a tag team championship and another mid-card championship for the women's division. Because they have the talent, and just like the men's gauntlet we talked about earlier, they have women that are ready to step into that role and take over. Especially if they keep running with Mercedes as TBS champion. Tony, I think, is the best possible option right now they have for the women's champion. And I think she does a fantastic job. Like, she hasn't had a weak point in any of her title reigns. And they keep throwing incredible talent at her, and they keep having incredible matches. But I think this women's division and this women's roster deserves something else to, just like I was talking about with the TNT title, something else to fight for and kind of maybe trade around and get some of these women the spot that they 100% deserve, because they don't have a bad women's wrestler on the AEW roster.
It's stacked. And Deanna was in this match.
Stacked. Yeah.
They have a lot of people in ROH. Mina is the interim Ring of Honor Women's Television Champion. Yeah. Shuri is now debuting. They do tons of, and they've done a better job booking mid-card non-title feuds. I think that's been, for me, WWE's biggest problem is booking when women are not in title feuds. They just do nothing. And then all of a sudden they're in a number one contenders match when they haven't won a match. They build really good mid-card feuds on it. Now, I still think they need more than one match on Dynamite moving
Agreed.
forward. But I think now having Mercedes not in the world title picture, that will, I think, open things up again to having 2 or 3 matches again back on Dynamite. Let's move on. Sorry, you go.
Yeah, one last thing. I wouldn't hate if they ran like an hour-long weekly show, even just on Honor Club, exclusively of women's wrestling.
I'm here for it.
And because like the Joshi shows go crazy. You know, that's exclusively women for 2.5, 3 hours, maybe, depending on what you're watching. And I have no problem with, you know, they film a Ring of Honor and then an extra hour, you know, comes out on like Monday or something, or Sunday or whatever, just an hour long, you know, exclusively women's show.
Yeah. They and I think before we even move on, Ring of Honor has for like 3 months they announced they're doing a pure women's title, but they have still not even come close to starting a tournament yet. So I think they should do women's tag titles. They have so many tag teams right now set in place.
Yes.
And WWE has butchered those titles to a pulp at this point. And I know the match tomorrow will be excellent, but they just have not given care to those titles. So I think AEW has a real chance to be the company because if you want to have a women's tag team division that's on TV, given care, that is a big edge they could have.
Exactly.
Moving forward. Before we get into our big 3 main event, we had a triple threat tag team championship match. We had the Hurt Syndicate, Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley retaining against Jeff Speed, who has Kevin Knight and Speedball, and the Patriarchy, Christian Cage and Nick Wayne. This is a match that didn't feel like a big all-in type match for the tag division. As I said, Lashley and Shelton have felt like more security guards lately than actually champs. And it also seems like they've just been feeling of jet speed. Patriarchy kind of feels very forced in, I'll say. But I thought this match over-delivered. I really, really enjoyed this match. Nick Wayne, I thought, died like twice during this match. He hit a filthy cutter where he jumped inside out of the ring on the side of the ring. It was a filthy cutter. Again, Speedball and Kevin are really, really good together. Don't mind them doing this for a while. MJF and MVP were both ringside. Hurt Syndicate had a whole West Side Gun entrance. I didn't think it was. It felt. I'll just be honest. It felt like they were either not remembering the lyrics, or it was just a very weird where you got the actual song in the background and the rapping was like a half a second off. So it just was. The whole thing was thrown off for him, even though MVP rapped and did quite well in the ring. But I actually thought Jet Speed was going to win. I thought this was a perfect excuse for Her Syndicate to lose the titles without getting pinned. Even though I did think Christian would get pinned to set up what happened later. But Her Syndicate get the win. They pin Christian, which set up the post-match. Before we get to the post-match, what did you think of this 3-way?
I think this was a good match, but I think it was like the lowest point on the card.
Sure.
Because there wasn't a ton of build for it. You know, they've been running Hurt Syndicate and Jet Speed recently, and as well as like a handful of other just put together teams. I really like Jet Speed. I think Jet Speed has the highest ceiling out of every team in this match. I did think it was going to be their turn with the belts. But yeah, it just, you know, to me, the match was good, but it also ended and felt like a nothing burger.
Sure.
Like we just had time to fill and we had a good, you know, these guys can put on a good match and so put them out there. And so like, it's what we got up until the end. And then after it kind of felt like this whole match was just to set up, you know, the big turn, which I also felt like was a waste of, you know, a spot on All In. They could have done, you know, I think the turn was great. I think the turn was also needed to happen to push extra stuff forward. But I think they could have maybe done it a little bit different. And maybe I don't even really know. I just after the turn, I was like, yeah, this feels like they were just pushing for the turn, pushing this match for the turn.
and sorry, let's get into the turn. We'll talk about the post match. So before the match, Stokely cut a promo saying that we're FTR. We're going to be out there to call the match, and we'll be there to maybe help out the patriarchy because they had a big 8-man tag on Collision that did not end well, where FTR got pinned. So they kind of were already teasing they were going to do the FTR Christian Cope thing tonight. So they were ringside. Christian, before to set up the finish, he ran into Dax and Cash when they were on the turnbuckle. So that led to Lashley getting the spear and the win. So post-match, FTR gets in the ring. It looked like they were going to confront Christian. Nick Wayne and Kip were like, all right, let's get out of here. And then Nick Wayne, which I thought was actually a really nice touch, hit the kill switch on Christian. I'm a big fan of Nick Wayne. Think big things of him moving forward. The guy has really good facial. He has really good instincts. Really good instincts. So it looks like he's going to hit the concerto on Christian, but it was very obvious. I thought for this show needed it, which was Cope returning. Again, didn't make sense why Cope was doing his whole entrance while Christian was almost about to die in the ring. But he ran around and ran around and ran around and got pyro, and then he was in the ring. By the time that happened, they easily could have hit the concerto on Christian, but they did stop. They did stop. They did stop to enjoy the entrance like all of us did. But so Edge. Cope gets in the ring. He hits the couple spears. You think he's going to say, go F yourself again to Christian, but he says, go find yourself, and drops the mic. I think this is setting up again for the FTR Cope and Christian match. I think they're going to do it in Toronto at All Out in the hometown of Christian and Cope. I agree with you. This should have been at All In. This is another match that also could have moved a couple thousand tickets on its own. I think, again, I respect the fact that Christian wanted to finish the patriarchy story. It wouldn't make sense in the middle of that to do Christian somehow turning babyface to just team with Cope. But I think for the show, it did very well, got a big reaction. I liked Cope saying, go find yourself. So I think this will be the match All Out. I think is going to be the plan here.
I think it's a great match moving forward. I was wondering, they had the rumored father-son tag championships. And I thought, we'd been hearing about, Christian wanting to finish out the story with Nick before moving on with Cope. And I thought that tonight might be the night that they win the championships and then they unveil the father-son tag championships. And they go on a short run before eventually one would turn on the other. But I think it's a great turn. I'm glad Cope is back and healthy after witnessing what happened in his last match. So I'm glad he's moving and walking. I was really worried about that after watching that Malachi Black match.
That was the reports were that Cope has been ready to come back for weeks, for months now, really post Dynasty. So it's good that he's back. I think we're all ready. I think it's a dream match. I do think, again, should have happened All In. It's an all-in match, the dream match of those four guys wrestling each other. But again, I think All Out, if the number one contenders of the Gauntlets get their match that All Out, and then you have this match, wow. If you have Hangman and MJF, and you have Athena and Tony Storm, and you have this tag match, I think All Out is going to be pretty special as well in Toronto. So I think that is exciting. So before we're heading down the home stretch, as we're heading into the triple main event, again, please, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button, guys. Really helps support us. I saw that everyone who's been watching on YouTube so far have hit that like button. Really, really appreciate that. If you want to comment, we're here to talk with you guys as well, so we'd love to hear you guys comment as well. And follow us on Twitch. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube. I've been doing every single, basically, night. I do TikTok instant highs and lows to all of the main shows. So I recap Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, Collision. So if you like those as well, it's on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all of those things. And let's move on now to, as we're over an hour. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. We knew this was going to be kind of a long post show. It is a lot. So let's move into the triple main event. And starting was Timeless Tony Storm retaining against the TBS champion Mercedes Moné. this was probably the second match, the second or third match I was most excited for on this show. Mercedes is my favorite female performer of my life. I just think she's been the best in ring for over a decade now. And yeah, she gets the most crack out of any wrestler, I think, currently working. She has had a run right now, the last 6 to 8 months of her career, going from New Japan to Rev Pro, going to Austria. But in itself, it really did start with that winning the TBS title off of Stephanie Vaquer a year ago. And here we are where she is in this.
Yeah, look at us now.
I know. And she had really cool ring gear where she had name on her back. It was all the people awesome. That she has beaten. It did include Stephanie Vaquer. I did see that. I was wondering if she was going to put her on there, but all of the names were on the back, which was very cool. But again, Toni, I thought, needed to win this match. I think Mercedes, the downfall of Mercedes begins tonight. I think she'll start losing these. She started, I think it was a month or two ago when she lost the New Japan Strong title to Azumi. I think this will start the downfall of her losing other titles. And how will Mercedes, that character is way more interesting now, losing things after basically a year or two straight of winning every single match. And Toni is, again, the most interesting, I think, women's character they have. These are this is what you want for All In. The two by far and away biggest stars in AEW. They put on a really good match. They stormed Zero. She had like 5 in this match. She had like 3 in a row. I was like, that is it. And then Mercedes kicked out to set up the finish where Toni hit a top rope, storm Zero. Mercedes it looked like she was injured after the match. They were really checking on her for a while in the ring. I'm checking all the presser notes. So there's not been a thing yet on Mercedes, but again, Mercedes and Toni put on a really good match. No one's surprised. I think everyone's relieved Toni got the win.
Yeah, I think one of the big things for the AEW women division is gonna be finding that next big matchup for Toni Storm. With Mina Shirakawa has been doing a lot of Ring of Honor stuff, and Mariah May is now with WWE. Finding that next big rival for Toni Storm is going to be important. Yeah. And I think that Mercedes is a very, very good choice, but I think Mercedes has to go through a character change before it becomes a great choice. And so I think, especially, if you were talking about she's going on that downhill spiral right now, potentially where she starts losing, everything that she's built up. I think that would make for an incredibly compelling character to take on Toni Storm and potentially take the belt off of Toni Storm. But that's, down the line. Somebody could, in that time, step up and really, really take control of the situation. But I think the women's division is great, but I don't think they have anybody that rivals Toni Storm right now.
They don't.
And so it's going to be very interesting to see the next couple of months how they build these things up. They have people that will put on incredible matches with Toni Storm, but nobody's going to give her that 3-match series that we really want to see out of Toni Storm, because she can do stories. She's a great storyteller, and the best stories are always when there's multiple chapters. You can tell a story in one chapter, but the best ones are long stories. And so they're having to kind of reset after Mariah May left. And so I'm very interested in the top of the women's card and seeing what happens and how things move and shake. And I believe that it'll end up with Mercedes on top, but it won't be anytime soon. It'll be after a couple months.
Yeah, I think this is a match you do save for shows like these. And I do want to say too, I love Toni. I think she's, again, the biggest AEW star. I do think it's time for a fresh face as the women's champion. It has felt like that she has been in this picture for basically 2 years now. Again, the Ryan Bay feud, easily their best women's top title feud.
100%.
I think this has been another, again, I really actually thought Megan Bayne could have been the person at Dynasty. She was really built to win that title. I think at that point, again, I don't blame Tony Khan for going Mercedes and Tony for the show. But I do think they need to build up someone ready to win now. The question is, though, is that Athena Blackhawk? Is that Athena? Is this the person who's going to beat Tony Storm, or does Tony get the win and we move on to someone else? Full Gear, maybe Forbidden Door type situation.
I think Athena could be the choice. Now, it does depend on how they play her with Ring of Honor. If she just moves in and, she moves into another belt collector gimmick like Mercedes, I'm not very moved by it. I'm not very excited. But if she comes in and says, this is my focus now, after going, 5 years undefeated, outside of, her Mercedes match with the Owen. Yeah. And so that's like, if she says, this is my focus now, is this women's division here, I'm all for it. I'm all, if she's just going to come in and try to take the belt and go back to Ring of Honor and double time both shows, not super excited. But if she's like, coming in and saying, this is it, this is the show I'm on, I'm very excited. And I think Athena is the person to pick at this moment. In my opinion, next up would be Megan Bayne. I think Megan Bayne, given a good story and good reason to be up there, could carry the division for a couple weeks, couple months until they kind of, let some things work out. Not necessarily a transitional champion, but somebody to give some people some breaks and and really get some work in. Because I think Megan Bayne has, 9.5 out of 10 tools ready to go for a major run. And she just needs the experience of the major run to be, 10 out of 10 ready. So I think they've got options. It just really depends on how the pieces fall and they move things forward after this. But it's very exciting because there's a lot of good options. WWE, sometimes you look at it and you're like, there's not a lot of, good options. And, their women's division is good. Don't get me wrong. Women's division is really, really good, but it's also very thin compared to AEW's. I was looking at for another video that I was doing, and they're like, the men outnumber the women almost 4-1. We think about, it's like, oh, why doesn't somebody else challenge for these titles? Like, they don't have anybody else. If they'd run out of mid carders if they moved them, started moving people up to the high card and stuff like that, and it wouldn't make any sense. And
look, that's why you have to build mid card feud. That's why you have
exactly
100%. Statlander and Willow, whoever wins 100%. Exactly. They're in title. They're ready for matches. I think, and I'll talk about that a lot tomorrow night with Anissa and Rami for Evolution. But I agree with you. I do think Stat for me is the pick if this Death Riders thing turned into anything. I do think if she does either go that direction, or again, if the Death Riders split and maybe it's Yuta with her or something, maybe that could, whatever it is. I think that she's another. But I do think this reign,
another great option.
I think either the next 2 pay-per-views, I think someone needs to take the belt off of Tony. If it's not Athena, I think someone maybe if it's not like if it's maybe not Forbidden Door, maybe it is all the way down the line of Full Gear. We'll see. But I do think the division needs a fresh new top. No offense to Tony. Tony's doing great work. Love her as champion.
Exactly. Yes.
But I think it's been a long.
Just need a little shake-up. Just a little something to change things around a little bit.
Also, from a business perspective, Tony Khan saying that they had the early buys were the best they've ever had for a pay-per-view that they've done. So that's very good to hear. And they said their walk-up business was incredible, and said that the paid attendance is near 30,000 for the show. So
that's great.
That's awesome.
I think this morning it was at 25, wasn't it? Yeah,
it got up to 2650, I think, today. But they do really well walk-up business. So that's their biggest North American show of all time. I think a lot of people are saying, well, they didn't fill the whole thing. I mean, 30,000 for a non-WWE stadium North American show. I think the crowd was really good. It looked like a big deal. Again, Wembley next year, they'll go back to near 80,000 people. But I think for right now, I think they did a really good job.
We also forget that this company's not more than, hasn't even made it 10 years yet. This company is younger than, it's 6 years old. And they're already doing, 30K stadiums, which is fantastic. And especially at this moment in wrestling where it's not popular in pop culture anymore, where it's mostly just true fans. Like TNA, when they debuted, wrestling was popular in pop culture. It was starting to fade out towards the end of their beginnings, but like they were selling out big arenas, and people think about that. It was like, but wrestling was like commercials. You saw them on, they were on TV shows. Wrestlers were everywhere, and we kind of are starting to crawl back into that. Wrestlers are in the media and places, which I think is great for the sport, great for the companies. But selling 30,000 seats at a 6-year-old company is almost unheard of. And so this is a great accomplishment. I'm very proud of AEW, especially watching from the beginning when they first debuted. They had a long, rough patch, and now we are in some of the best AEW that we have seen, and I think it's just continually going to get better.
Yeah. We also, again, I'm trying to keep track of all this news. A lot of stuff's coming out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it does seem that Seth Rollins is actually hurt in his match tonight against LA Knight. So there's a lot of reports that were going around saying that it wasn't, but now you have John Alba, Sean Ross Sapp, a lot of top people saying that it is a real injury for Seth Rollins. So hopefully, again, I have not watched the show yet. I will go and watch it right after we're done here. But if you guys
I've been trying to keep away with spoilers, but that's
they want to bring that up because it is going around crazy. Yeah, Sean Ross Sapp said the immediate reaction is backstage is that the Rollins injury is real. So again,
hopefully it's not real bad.
Yeah. But let's move on to a match that I was very excited for. It really did change wrestling for me, which is the winner take all unified title match. Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega. As I said, I grew up where it was really just WWE and TNA, and what really opened my eyes was the New Japan era, Ring of Honor era of the mid 2010s, and Okada Kenny has again really did change the course of wrestling. Without them, we're not sitting here talking about an AEW post show in 2025. I will say this match is definitely not a top tier Okada Omega match. Not that I was disappointed. It just it's not one of the matches that I think I'm going to remember on this show, which is a bit, I guess, disappointing. The in-ring stuff was really good. You can tell their chemistry is still there. I just did not need that much interference in a match like this. I mean, this is Kenny Omega and Okada. Yeah. Don Callis ringside, but then Rocky Romero is coming out, and Ibushi is already out there, and Bryce Remsburg is getting attacked, and I thought out of all the matches on the show, this is like the one match that did not need
any run-ins. Just let them have it.
Because I like the beginning of the match was slow, building up the diverticulitis, really working on the abs of Kenny. And Kenny had the one winged, and then they thought that was it, but Don Callis pulled out Bryce, and that started the shenanigans. I just did not need shenanigans for this match, and it really pulled me out of the finish. The finish was really good again. Okada gets the win, I thought made sense. If you're going to have a top babyface as your 1A champion, I do think it makes sense to have a heel, your other top heel as the 1B. It would be really hard to have Kenny right now. And because the AEW does struggle with the top tier heel situation right now. If Mox is going to be out for a bit, they really, I think, need Okada to get the win. But yeah, this was not as special. I thought it was the weakest of the 3 triple main events, and I was really shocked to think that now. Reflecting.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was just recently got into New Japan, and started watching a lot of New Japan stuff in my free time. But I have purposely avoided the Omega and Okada matches because I wanted to experience this one by itself, and then go back and compare. And from what I've seen of the other matches, this definitely was not their best match. But it was still a very good match. Definitely could have done without the run-ins. These are two guys that don't need run-ins. And so they could have handled business on their own and still put on an incredible match. I don't think this is the last time we see them in an AEW ring against each other for that title. I have a feeling somehow we'll be in Toronto, and I believe we'll see them face off again in probably a twice as good match. Is Kenny from Toronto?
He is. I think he's from Winnipeg, but it's still the Canadian element of it.
Canada, somewhat hometown for.
I agree with you.
And so I don't know if he wins there or if he loses there, but I think they will face off at All Out at the minimum. And I would love to see Kenny win. But he sold his ab region like crazy. He did a great job with that, to the point where I was starting to believe like he was actually really, really hurt.
Kenny and Danielson do that really good, where you really think they're hurt.
Yes. And so it was a really good match. Definitely the bottom of the 3 main events, but still really good and deserving of a main event, slot. So
the crowd was there chanting on their feet, saying this is awesome before they even and they got the biggest pop just when they tied up for the first time, which was again, Kenny's had also he should not be wrestling as good as he is right now with what he went through for the last couple of years. And his match with Gabe Kidd is still one of my favorite matches of the year from Wrestle Dynasty. Really, really good match. I think Kenny will win the match back at either. I think they'll do Blood and Guts at All Out, or I think they're going to have Kenny beat Okada at All Out. I do think seem like the two. Okada did say in his press conference that he is done with Kenny. He is finished with the story. I don't think that's true. Obviously, Okada.
No, they're 2-2-1. I saw that before we got on here. They're 2-2-1. They can't be done. They're tied.
The draw match, honestly, might be my favorite match of theirs. Is the draw match. I really do like that.
That's also what I've heard. So I'll probably go watch that later tonight. Which I'm excited for. I'm gonna watch a run of their matches.
And then Tony Khan, funny enough, did say on the presser that going forward, this title will be under Continental rules, so there will be no more interference in these matches. So I don't know if you heard the blowback from people online about it, but he did say going forward it will be Continental rules, no more interference for the unified titles moving forward.
I'm fine with that.
Right move.
I think the run-ins and interference has their place in wrestling.
It does.
Not everything needs it. Sometimes you just got to do a straight up win or straight up loss. And Hangman versus Mox makes sense to have a lot of run-ins.
Yes.
Okada and Omega, not really. I mean, obviously he's part of the Don Callis family, and that's going to play a factor. But yeah, I don't think we should have any run-ins in that. And there's there was a handful of run-ins tonight that I was just like, okay, why are we doing this? And then some of them would be answered, this is why, and I'm like, oh, okay, like with the Bang Bang Gang coming out to get rid of Gates of Agony. I thought that was great. But at the time I was like, why is Gates of Agony out here? And then the same thing with the women's Casino Gauntlet match. They had a handful of women that were out there just hanging out. And I was like, why are we doing this? Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, Sky Blue is not her. Anna's not her. I was like, why are they not in the match? I was like, this is like. Yeah,
it was very weird. Like Sky Blue came out and fought in the Casino Gauntlet while not being in the match. And I was like, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Where Mina made her tap out, and Mina's like, I won. I was like, I would think so too if she's in the match or not.
Yeah.
But you think, that was the only confusing part about the Casino Gauntlet matches. Yeah. So we're heading down the home stretch. Let's talk about this main event, which is what everyone has been waiting for, and that is finally Jon Moxley, and again, I love Jon Moxley, but he is no longer the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. It is Hangman Adam Page in a Texas death match, and this got bloody. I would say 45 seconds into this match because
it was
there
not
were
long.
forks. There were forks. There was barbed wire. There was glass. There was nails. There was tables. About everything, everyone knew this would be the Cody finishing his story version for AEW, which is shenanigans, all these baby faces coming out to ward off this heel faction, and the big nod off, which is Swerve being the savior for the match. Also, their segment on Thursday was really, really good on Collision. With,
so good.
Really, really good. I thought the match was, I totally get if this type of match is not for you, it's not for everyone. The deathmatch style, really just Mox's matches are all kind of end up this way, no DQ or not. But the right person won. It was extremely satisfying. I gotta say, for a show that was nearly 8 hours long, the crowd was absolutely here for this match.
Yeah.
I would say too that respect to Marina Shafir taking a Death Valley driver through a table from Hangman.
Yes, and she almost missed that table. She almost missed the table and still got up. I was like,
still got up and helped Mox get up later in the match. But we had Darby Allin cutting a promo on top of Mount Everest. Then he came down from the rafters. Bryan Danielson in a luchador mask and then helping things out. Ospreay was involved, but he got taken out by Gabe and Claudio. So he got stretchered out really early on.
That one was crazy.
They were trying to leave that shot of a doubt. Oh my God, all these people are being taken out who could help Hangman. But Marina Shafir goes for the briefcase, and connected to that briefcase was shockingly, like the last person I honestly was thinking was Prince Nana, who starts dancing when he comes out. And then there's Swerve. Swerve hands Hangman the thing to hit Moxley and chokes him out. Moxley taps out. The Death Riders are done ruling over AEW. The Chosen One, the main character of this show, is back as world champion for the first time in like 5 years, which is crazy to think about. But Hangman is back as world champion. Did this main event live up to the hype? Blackhawk, let me know.
Yes, it was fantastic. The best way to end this show. Putting it at anything other than the end would have been a disservice. I'm not a huge deathmatch guy to begin with. I'll watch GCW every now and then, and they'll have like these crazy like death matches with fluorescent light bulbs, and like I'm not really into that stuff. I'm into like this is a very tasteful death match. It's something we're not going to see for a long while, probably not at least a year. And so this was very good. I did cringe a lot when the glass got brought out, thinking it was thumbtacks, and then I saw the bottles. I was like, "Oh no!"
They were big bottles. No. They were big bottles.
Yes. But yeah, I thought this match was perfect the way they did everything. Yeah. The only thing I would have changed was Darby coming from the ceiling. I thought that took a little too long.
Well, it took a long time, and they clearly did show it on the Jumbotron, so half the crowd didn't even know he was up there until he got down. I was like, it was, again, Darby's insane, though. I got to be honest, though.
Yeah, it would have been really cool, I think, if they had not shown, him descending before and then gone back to the match. Yeah. Him just dropping down would have been awesome, but I knew 30 seconds before he got close to the ring that he was coming, and I think that ruined that moment just a little bit for me, but it was still a really cool moment. I'm glad Darby's back. I'm glad he was safe from Mount Everest. Glad Danielson's back in some capacity, whether he once a month pops in and does something.
Tope, which is a good sign.
Very good sign. I know he was in talks about retiring and he doesn't want to retire, but so I very, very happy to see him, and I hope that he can at least make some limited time and do maybe a match a month at the least. And so there's a lot of positives that come out of this match, especially with Hangman coming out on top, him and Swerve being on good terms, because that'll lead to a very fun friend versus friend sort of, title match. Maybe they could really reignite that fire again. No pun intended. But I don't know. I think the future for AEW in the men's, high card division is very bright, and we will be experiencing some great AEW television from now on. So
yes, and again, like the Death Riders, I think for the first 3/4 of this run was not totally working for everyone. And again, I'm someone who loves these performers. Like I love Moxley, Claudio. I think Yuta has gotten himself way more over than he ever has before. And I still think that's the match, him and Danielson, because Yuta still uses the Psycho knee as his finish. I think that's still the big match out of this. And I think Marina has done a really good job as well. The last couple, I think post Dynasty, really, they've done a really good job. I love the Joe feud. I love the leading into the Anarchy in the Arena. And I think they've done a good job with this. But I do think, again, AEW was really going to get crushed tonight if this was not the result. I think a lot of people were going to, this is like worse than Cody losing in LA. This is, it would have been a turn off the TV type, really a big change in pro wrestling. I think if Moxley retained the title tonight, this was an easy decision. I was not worried about it. And then the bell rung. I was like, oh God, here we go, getting nervous again. But Hangman got the win. I think this is, again, very, very good.
Agreed.
For the company. I think a lot of people are now going to be back on the AEW train because all these top guys, you have Hangman, Swerve, Ospreay, Okada, Omega, MJF, just that bunch in the world title top of the top card picture. AEW's had a major problem injury-wise with all these people at one time being healthy. And again, sadly, Adam Cole is not, but other than that, they are really at full strength right now at the top of the card. Both men and women at the moment. So you said earlier your match of the night is the Women's Gauntlet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Women's Gauntlet. I'm still going with the Ospreay Swerve Bucks match. I still think that was, for me,
still a great match.
But again, I could be biased because Ospreay is my favorite in ring and Bucks my favorite tag team of all time. So that was going to be easily pleasing me. Also, Tony Khan was getting emotional, wrapping up his press conference talking about Adam Cole. Did say he found out as of last night, he was still planning to wrestle today.
Oh wow! This was
they planned. He said as of last night they planned for him to still wrestle at the show. But Tony Khan says somewhere between late last night and early this morning, Cole told him that he was not feeling well and needed to step away from in-ring competition. So again, all thoughts and prayers to one of my favorite pro wrestlers 100%. Of my lifetime, Adam Cole. Do not want this to be the last time we see him in a ring, wrestling, talking, anything like that. But overall, as we're wrapping things up, what is this one of? Do you think this is the best All In? Is this one of the best shows they've done? Where do we rank AEW All In 2025?
I think it's definitely in the top All-Ins of all time. I don't know if it's the best. I'd have to go back and watch the old All-Ins because a lot of that kind of escapes me after a year. Some of the moments might be in there, but watching a full show, a lot of that's kind of out the window. But this is definitely one of the best ones that they've done. One of the best shows of the year. We've still got 6 months. AEW could top it themselves. I would love to see WWE try to top it, but at the rate they're going now, I don't think it will. I hope that one of my big hopes from this show was that AEW does so well that WWE has to watch it and recognize that they're doing something different and it's working, and alter their programming to actually try to combat it instead of just run 3 programs in the weekend to counter it.
I think yeah.
I think when AEW really started picking up steam and starting getting hot again, WWE also was picking up a little bit of steam and starting to get hot again. And now AEW's train has taken off full steam ahead, and WWE's has kind of stopped for maintenance. And so I'm very, very hopeful that this event could be a big turning point for the rest of the year for AEW and WWE and TNA. Slammiversary, I think, is next weekend. Yep. And so I think All In being as good as it was, I think could be, huge for the rest of the year as far as American wrestling goes. In hopes that other companies will watch and see the reaction of the fans and see the turnout and be like, hey, maybe we should alter what we're doing a little bit because this is working. And what we're doing is not, it's working, but it's not working as well.
I agree. I think their biggest problem has been these unsatisfying pay-per-view finishes over the last year.
Yes.
Probably. Shows have been very good for them over the last year.
Yes.
But for people, they're ending on a bummer, which means they think of the whole show as what they end on. And AEW used to be the company that delivered such heartfelt, amazing. And look at a year ago from today, Bryan Danielson had a very amazing, heartwarming main event win to a show. But after he lost the title, it's been disappointing finish after disappointing finish. And when it's your world title picture, that culminates over the entire show. I think Hangman winning, I think, should start again these positive. You don't want, again, I went to Dynasty. I've never seen people more pissed off at a finish. Because that show was, people forget, that was a really, really good show.
It was a fantastic show.
Really good show. Being in person, it was a really phenomenal show. The Kenny Speedball Ricochet match was my favorite.
Oh, so good.
But again, no one will remember that show at all because of the really disturbed reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you gotta please fans. And I thought that was, I don't know if it was planned, a mistake. They have finally, I think Hangman is the right person moving forward. And look, they have big shows. They have All Out. They have Forbidden Door all in the next month and a half here.
And New Japan starts the G1.
Yeah, G1 is starting. Exactly. SummerSlam.
A lot of big things coming up. So there's a lot of big opportunities for these wrestling companies to do big things. And so I'm very excited for the future. Hopefully this is like the marquee point. Yeah, especially in the American circuit. I hope this is a marquee point for the rest of the year and we can turn around some of these. Like WWE has been very disappointing this year. And I was very high on them at the beginning and they have just gradually lost. I hope this is a turning point where they've run 3 programs. And from what I've seen just online, the 2 programs they've had today weren't even close to as good as all in. And so we'll see with Evolution tomorrow. I have high hopes for Evolution. I really hope it does well because I want them to continue to do it. And if it does bad, they're not going to do it again. And so I have high hopes, even though they really haven't promoted it very much at all. But they should look at All In and be like, this, what they're doing is working. How can we adapt with our roster to, kind of see if we can make this work for us?
Yeah, it is the best. Like, it's weird. WrestleMania was months ago. I feel like this feels like a WrestleMania type month where you have these 3 WWE shows. You have this. You have SummerSlam in less than a month. The G1, Slammiversary. You had Supercard of Honor yesterday. And I mean, it's again. I'm done with counter programming. I haven't given my rant.
Yes.
I'm done. I watch NXT every week. I watch WWE every day. I watch this. I want to focus on the shows. If they're pay-per-views, I want to sit down in my focus. Like today, I haven't checked Twitter at all, really, like on the main feed at all, because I don't want to be spoiled for Great American Bash or Saturday Night's Main Event. I was just looking in our Bodyslam group trying to make sure about the Seth Rollins stuff, but I'm just done with this. Because especially if AEW is still putting up really good pay-per-view numbers and it's not hurting them, the counter program, hopefully that means at some point that we would say, well, if it's not hurting them, what's the point of keep running against them? So,
and like I
Yeah.
I get it in concept. Like, it makes sense in
Totally,
concept
totally,
that, like,
totally.
this is our competition. We should run a show against them and try to outdraw them. But WWE is not in a position right now to be trying that. Even
And
with
as of,
WrestleMania this year, they probably couldn't have outdrawn All In as far as like at home viewership. Obviously, they would have filled, the stadium in Las Vegas. Probably had more people come in, just because it's WWE. But as far as the excitement and the enjoyment, they wouldn't have beaten All In if they even countered it with 2 nights of WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think it's, and sadly, I think based on, I think NXT announced today that their next, I think, Heat Wave is the same day as, I think it's Forbidden Door. I could be wrong. It's Forbidden Door or All Out. One of those two things.
They're really setting up NXT for failure because they're countering AEW's biggest shows with an NXT show. And Heat Wave last year was incredible.
And again,
but I'm going to watch Forbidden Door over it.
Of course. For me, that's been the one brand that has really fallen off, in my opinion. I have not been a big fan of NXT TV for a while now. But the pay-per-views always are very good. So because it's not the BS and the parking lot type stuff. I want to watch the in-ring NXT stuff. But yeah, it's just we've come to a point where I think hopefully we're done with it. But again, I think Ospreay Gabe Kidd. I'm just gonna say it out loud in the ether. I think that's the dream match for All In. In London. Yeah. You had Gabe. I think it was interesting. They had Gabe Kidd take out Ospreay as well. I hope that leaves the tea leaves for a match. They had a big rivalry.
It'd be amazing.
In London. The both British guys, like, it is a slam dunk.
Yes, that's easy.
Easy, but it's not the main event, which would be interesting, but I still think that's a big match. But
one of those, they got 3 main events. This one's like the first of 3. I wouldn't be mad about that at all.
Yeah. So I just want to thank everyone who tuned in on all of the various platforms. We had over 1,000 people on Twitter checking us out. We had a lot of people check us out on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, all night long. We are here again. Bodyslam.net usually has a post show every single day of the week. If it's Raw, if it's NXT, Dynamite, Collision, SmackDown. We are usually here for post shows as well for PLEs. Like tomorrow, going to promote that as hell. I will be here back hosting the Evolution post show. I will not be probably here all night talking Evolution because it's probably going to be over by 10 o'clock, which will be very nice. 7 to 10 o'clock show, hopefully. But I'll be here with Anissa and Rami. We're going to break down the whole card, the matches, all of that, the highs and lows of that. And then Blackhawk, before I get into my stuff, talk about where everyone can find you on both for Bodyslam and other stuff.
Yeah, for Bodyslam, I'm doing the live stream clippings, posting them on Reels and TikTok and Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of that. And my personal stuff, you can find me anywhere at Blackhawk Walker. I have my own personal YouTube channel where I talk about wrestling. Try to post at least twice a month. But should have another video coming out this week. So check that out. Usually post on Thursdays. But yeah, if you want to find me anywhere, it's Blackhawk Walker. Pretty easy to find.
Fantastic. For Bodyslam, took a little break, I guess. I had some personal stuff where I wasn't able to write as consistently, but back on Monday, I'll be back writing hopefully 3 to 5 articles, hopefully a day. And then also you'll see, as you talk about some reels and stuff like that, I do reels basically like 6 days a week. Where I do highs and lows for Raw on Monday, NXT on Tuesday, Dynamite on Wednesday, Collision on Thursday, SmackDown Friday, and then both the PLEs. I do prediction videos for all of that. So you can find me for Bodyslam on the website. I do articles every day, but also TikTok, Instagram, this very YouTube channel, Twitter. They all get posted there. And for Bodyslam purposes, please follow us on all of our social media.
Yes.
We are doing so much work on all of the social media platforms, TikTok especially. So if you can follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, here on YouTube, on Twitter, bodyslam.net. We're easy to find. Also, please subscribe to our Patreon. We are breaking a lot of news right now. We are really doing a good job. Corey Hayes leading the way.
Pumping stuff out.
really breaking some big time pro wrestling news, being credited now by a lot of top other wrestling sites. So join us, get on the bodyslam.net bandwagon train while you can by subscribing us to our Patreon. So it'll go right into your email and you'll get the breaking news before anyone else finds out. So please do that as well. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the like button. Give us a comment if you're watching us on the replay. What are your favorites matches? Where does this rank for you in AEW pay-per-views? We respond to all the comments on all social media, so we'd love to have a discussion with you guys. Without further ado, thanks for joining us for 2 hours.
Yes, thank you.
Turn out like a 10-hour day plus of AEW, but it's finally over. So for Blackhawk,
it's a fun day. It's a great day. I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
Hey, this is our job. This is a dream for us to be talking about AEW.
Great.
So again, thank you so much, Blackhawk, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for Blackhawk, I'm Max Dinenberg. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys very soon.
Oh, thank you! Oh, thank you! Oh, thank you!